Hello everyone, welcome back to Netcode-Hub channel. I am Frederick, as you know, and I'm very happy to have you here today. In this video, we are going to look at how to create custom JWT authentication system in Blazor server, that is .NET 8, using interactive server render mode. So before we dive into it, this is what the system is going to look like. We're going to have our own custom system whereby user can register and also can log in. As soon as the user logs in, you have the token created in the same Blazor whereby you're going to expose an endpoint to it. After that, you're going to consume this endpoint in the various components and you're going to create a custom authentication state provider. Okay, so that's exactly what we're going to do. Then we consume this, and when making a call, maybe we can attach the token to the HTTP client before we make a call. Let's have a look so that you can understand this with a practical aspect. I do offer training session for people who are interested in Blazor and also .NET, Web API, and Blazor hybrid, and etc. So I have an email in the video description. You can just link me up through it. Okay, so let's see. Now make sure you have a Visual Studio last, and let's go in then and create project. This is going to be .NET 8. I believe you are aware. So click on create new project, and I'm going to select the template for that's the Blazor web app, this one. The name is going to be demo Blazor server JWT authentication. Let's click on next, and now here we're going to create a custom authentication system, so we don't need any here, right? You don't want to select the individual. We want to maintain what we have. The none, since we're going to create our own. The server, that's going to be the interactive render mode. Make sure you choose the server. And for the location, just leave it as it is, per page or global, anyone. Let's click on create to get this project created. So the next thing to do after the project creation is to install our NuGet packages, and that is what we're going to use to create these, talking about the identity models and also EF core, server, and also tools, and other packages as well. We are not going to implement Identity Manager here. We're going to create our own one, so we need a mechanism to encrypt user password. By doing so, we're going to also install bcrypt.net.next. That is the package I'm going to use to encrypt password. So let's install these packages here. So this is what I'm going to do. Since I have the package references here, I'm going to click on this. But if you're not having the reference, you can just right click on dependencies, then go to manage NuGet packages, and I'll try to install them one after the other. I'll go to the project itself, then I'll unload this project. Then the package that I'm going to install here, first let me just have the item group. So we need the bcrypt.next, net.next. Wow. And now this is going to be for the server. So let's have a label here. There's a server. And now also we need a swashbuckle, since we're going to expose an API. So we want to get it used. We also need system.identitymodel.token.jwt, since that's what we're going to use to create the token. Aside from that, we also have to use Microsoft Identity Models.token. So let me also add this here. Okay. After that, we need EF core, tools, and now package. So EF core, SQL server, and now tools. And the last one for the server is we need Microsoft.es Netcode-Authentication.jwt bearer. We need that as well. So once you're done, we need to also include this Microsoft.asp netcode.component.authorization. This is going to give us access to cascading and authentication state provider in the component that you're going to consume the tokens. So let's have that here. You can have a label known as a client. This is going to be used by the server, and now this is going to be by the client. Okay, that's it. Pages I'm talking about. Okay. All right, so let's save this. And I think that's all that we need to install now. Maybe later on, in case we need any, we'll come back again and do that. Now save this, save everything. Go to solution, then right click on this, and I'll go to reload project with dependencies, and now the packages are being installed. Okay, so next to do here is, once you have the package installed, we quickly have to create our models and our DTOs for the login and also for registration. So let's create a folder here and I'll name it as models and also DTO. So we have our folder. So models or entity, that's fine. You can also create another one. You say DTOs. Okay, so let me make this as small s. And you know, DTOs what data transfer objects. Okay, so for our models, we only need one model. I think so, because since we're going to use for registration, we need only a model now. So let's add a class to this. And the name of this class is going to be application user. In the application user class, we want to have just name, email, and password. Maybe you would like to add more properties to this. This is what you want to have for now. And also, let's go in there and create our DTOs. And now with the DTO, we're going to create a register DTO. That's what we're going to use to transport data from the user to this model, okay, to access the database. So, and this application must come to the models. I believe we've done that, okay. So you make sure you do the right thing. So this is supposed to be .models, not .dto. So that's .model. We have it here. Now I click on the DTO. Let's add a class. And now this is going to be register DTO. For the register DTO, we are going to have the following properties. We need an ID, and for the DTO, yeah, maybe we can decide maybe ID, since I'm not going to do any updates, so we can scrap off the ID. So we need the name, we need email address, password, and our confirmed password, right? So maybe let's also create the login DTO. So when you go to the login DTO, right click on this and add a new class to this login DTO. And now you know with this we are having email and our password, isn't it? Now when you check the register DTO, it has the same email and password. So we can remove this email and password from here, and we can inherit from this login DTO. Inheritance, yes, we can do this. Alright, so the next thing that we're going to do here is, after creating this, we need to have our custom user claims. This is the DTO that we're going to use to contain the token or the claims that we need. We need the username and our user email. So we want to create a specific model to handle that. So let's add that before we forget it. So we say custom user claims, and now this is just a record which has only the name and now the email. So this is going to be the claims. So we have two claims here. You could add more, but for now we maintain this two. We have a name, we have an email, and that's what we're going to use to populate or to create or generate the token. Aside from that, what else can we do again? Maybe we can have access to user session. User session, for now, we're going to have only one property in this. And now this user session is what we're going to use to maybe, well, what can we do here? For now, let's pause user session. And let's go in there and create our responses. So let me create a folder in here. And now we can name this folder as responses. So new folder, responses. And now with this responses, we're going to create one class. And this class is going to be custom responses. So it's going to be a class in here, custom responses. And now in that custom responses, we are going to have two records. I wanted to say two records, okay. So we have our flag for the first one, that's going to be for registration, and that is going to be for login. The difference here is the login has a JWT token, but the registration has no token property. Okay, I think our models and our entities, the DTOs are done. Let's go in and create our repo. So this repo is going to consist of our interface and the implementation. So let's create a folder to also handle this. I'm going to say repos. Here's a repository. Maybe you can just add the whole name, okay? Shortcut is the key. Okay, so I'll click on the repos. Let's add an interface to this, and then we're going to have two interfaces. So you click on the interface. The name is going to be iAccount. You can add another name. Okay, you can change the name. So in here we have the registration response, and you can see we have the login response, and each has this payload. Now we need to create the implementation, and that's going to be an account, isn't it? So let's create a class and then name it as an account. In the repos, add new class, and now here we say an account. And as usual, since it's going to have an interface and have this, you're going to implement the interface. So Control K, then implement this interface. We're going to create constructor and now inject the AppDB context. We're going to have access to a database, but we have not created this AppDB context. So how can we inject it? So let's do that. Right click, let's add a new folder, and now this is going to be maybe data. In that, let's create this AppDB context class in it. So AppDB context class. And now once you have this class, what is the first thing that you're going to do? Since we have our DB context or EF core installed, we can now inherit from this DB context. This is coming from the entity framework core. The reason we are not getting this is, I could see we have some issue here. So let's build this application so we can update our dependencies here to get this package installed completely. So right click on this, go to build project, and you're going to restore packages. As you can see down here, we have a NuGet packages being restored. Now they are done. So if I click on period, still it is not. I have to have access to the entity framework core. Let's see. Okay, DB context is not. It's missing. Yes, I know. Alright, so now it is done. You can see now we have access to this. And we have to create a constructor and inject this, which inherit from the base. Aside from that, let's create a table to handle this, the data or the records of people who are going to register. So once you have this, a DB is ready. We can go back to our repo, account repo, and now here, control period, we can inject it here. That's fine. Configuration is what we're going to use to get access to our audience and now our token. No, our audience and now the issue and now the key. But we have not set that up. So we can do that from the appsetting.json. And now in that, we can just include this in there. So quickly, let's do that as an appsetting.json. I believe you found yours. Now, maybe down here, we can add this session. Okay, so appear twice, remove one. So we have JWT, you see, that is a section name, and we have this is a key. We have issuer, audience, and now we have the key itself. Okay, so this must be a random numbers or random strings. Okay, less than minimum is 16. Okay, so it will be maximum. Do I know the maximum? Okay, so minimum is 16, so you can actually add a lot in here. Now here we need a port. So to get a port solution, you go to the properties in here, line settings, and you can see from the HTTPS, you can see 7255. You can just grab this. You come here, and this is going to be the port. You're going to also have the same thing for the audience. Since you're going to have the same API in here, we're going to consume by ourselves. Okay, so we do that. All right, so let's create our connection string on top here. So we say it is a local. This is the database name. I'm going to say it is demo server DB. Then I have this transact connection and certificate set it through. Okay, so once you have this set, let's go back to the, what is that? Is it not the interface? No, there is a repository, the account repository. So in here, we go to register. So to register, first of all, we can just maybe find user. That is the best thing to do first. We want to check if user is available. We have to create a method. This must be an async, as you know, since you have a task. It must be an async. And control period, I can just simplify the name. I can remove everything. Now from this, you must create a method known as get user and pass in the email. This method is going to put down here so we can call it anytime, anywhere. Not anywhere within the scope. Okay, so here we are saying that first or default, get user.first or default, which has the same email as what we are passing through. So get the email. If it is not equal to null, it means user already exists. We won't allow the person to create an account. But in case it is null, it means the new person, and then we can enable this person or this guy to create a new account. So this is what we are doing. We are going to, this is a verified password. This is supposed to be encrypt password first, isn't it? So we have to add this. This must come in the login, the verified password. So appdb context.user. So the table, we're going to add a new application user, and now you're going to populate these three properties: name, email, and password. Now for the password, you see we are encrypting the password, we are hashing it, then restore. After that, we need to save changes and return. This is a very simple thing that we are doing. So here we await appdb context.save changes, and you know what you're doing is supposed to should come after this. Control KD, and now this method, as you can see from here, should come here. I don't want to mess things up. Okay, so this is how it's supposed to be. Alright, so we save changes and I return this through and success. Alright, so we have this set. Now for the login to, what can we do for the login? We are also going to find the same user. So let's do it here. So you know, we create one method and we are using it here and there, right? This must be an async as well, since you have a task. Then we now going to return response. We're going to return login or registration response. There's going to be login response, right? So in here we can just use this login response. Now the reason why this is set off and we don't have any error here is when you check the responses default, we have the default value. So if we don't set the value, it's going to be the default one. Now in case it is found, the email is found in there, we want to verify and see if the password are also same. Now if the password do match, we want to generate token. So we call this going to be a string form, generate token, and that's going to return the token to the user. So let's have a method to implement this token generation, and it is just simple. Do I say simple? Yeah, simple method to handle the token generation. Let me put it down here. So you can see generate token, then we pass in this application user, and that's exactly what we are getting from this find user. We can get this from here, so you pass into this method, and that's the method that we are calling in here. Now when it come here, we can see we are getting the key, and we are getting the issue and the audience. We set our claim, so we don't need even an ID here. We don't want to use an ID for the claim. You want to use only the name and the email. Okay, this is going to be for the claims. So from that, we have the expiry date for the tokens. It's supposed to be, we're pushing up to 2 days. Okay, that's my customized one. You can just set yours to 1 hour, 1 minute, or even some seconds. All right, then we're going to write a token in the form of a string and our return. Because you know the return type here is string, so we can catch it in here with a string, as you can see from this. And when it comes here, you can see our returning response, and you can see here is a string, as you can see from here. All right, so that's what we're going to do to create our token. You can see this is very simple, isn't it? And I believe you know how to do this, right? That's fine. Now the next thing to do here is we have to set up this to have access to controller. That's an API. So let's do that. We go to Solution Explorer, go to the program.cs file. First of all, we need to add controller. So build.services.add controllers. Aside from that, the next thing that we need to do here is we need to add the Swagger gen and specify in some option. And this is going to be my API. So you can just choose any name that you want the title and give it any version or so. Make sure the version of this and this version is the same. Okay. Then aside from that, what else can you do? Let's actually register our DB context. We are doing it together. We don't want to do this and do that. So we register a database connection string in here. And aside from that, we have to also register our JWT service, so we can have the token generated as soon as we try to log in. So as you can see, we add authentication, then we specify in this. Aside from that, we need to add our JWT bearer. And after adding the bearer, we need to specify some options in it. You can decide to skip this option, but they are very important. Okay, so don't skip. So we need to add, you see, add a JWT bearer, and these are the options. We have validate issuer, the audience, and remember that we've set this in the config file. So you can see we are getting them here. Valid issuer, valid audience. You can see we have a configuration. Then there's a session name, and that's a key. So we want to retrieve its value. Section name, key, and our its value. So the value is why we want to store it here. There is a key. We also want to use it, and here's the issuer sign-in key. All right. So once you're done, you know the service that we just created, the repo and the interface. No, the repo and interface. The repo is comprised of the interface, and the implementation. We need to create DI, that's dependency injection. So you can create a copy of this and attach it to this. Anywhere that we call this interface, it must go in with the repository. Okay. Aside from this, you know, we need to set up what again? For now, what can we do for now? Yes, let's try to include the middleware pipeline for this Swagger. So we can just navigate down here where you have this app.map. Then in here, let's map the Swagger, and that's the Swagger UI. And now in here, you can see your API name v1. So just add the API name. I intentionally made this so you can understand what actually meaning. So that is what I need to do to set up a controller or make this available, or yes, available to OpenAI. That's a Swagger. Once we have this set, what we need to do here is to perform database migration. But first of all, let's build it and see if everything is working as expected. Then we perform migration. Yes, as you can see, it is succeeded. So let's add migration. You go to package manager console from the tools section. If you're not having this tools, then manage NuGet packages, and then click on this package manager console. So add migration, and I'm going to say this is first. Now let's update the database. So update database. So this is done. As you can see, it is done. From this, we have a table created. I think only one table, because that's what we specified. Okay, so once you have this, what's the next thing to do? We need to create a controller so we can display this endpoint that we have as a repo in it. So in here, let's go to the solution. I'll click on the project, then add a new folder to this. And the name is going to be controllers. Then inside this controller, we need to, or we're going to create one controller class. Then here, the name of this is going to be an account controller. So this is not what you want, right? So it's supposed to be controller. So add controller. And now this must be an API empty one. And then going to be account controller. And you know, we have to also create constructor and then inject the repo that we created. That is the account service, not the account service. This must be an account repo. Yeah, so we have an account, and that is an account service. So maybe I can decide to change this to account repo, because you know we're going to also create a service here, and I don't want to confuse you guys. All right, so let's make this as account repo. Then Control K, you can include this. Now here we need for registration, so this is a very simple one. The endpoint is register. And now the next one too, we have the endpoint as login. You see? Very simple one. Now this is an account repo, no more account service, so you can make it as account repo. Save that. So once you have this set, we can run this and see if it's going to launch to our controller. So the app is ready. Now let's see. So here / then let's have Swagger and see if it's going to launch. Yes. So you can see we have our register, then we have the login. So you can see in our server we are having controller available. Okay. Now here this is going to work. Let's see if I click on execute this. Okay, so it is having a response code of 404. Why is it having 404? We have this password name. and I confirm password, execute this. Okay, so let's find out and see the reason. When you go to this repo that we have in here, and I register async, and now when you go to this account repo, where is it? Have you found yours? You go to the accounts, and now with the account, that is a register in here. So we inject our AppDB context, then we are adding this, we save changes, and I will return this response. So let's check from this. If I click on inspect, and when we check from this section, click on execute, and you can see 404 we have from the header. Let's see. You can see we have this 7255 as a port, an API account, and a register. But let's see, we have to register the base address with this. So we have to do that from the program.cs. So let's come to the program.cs file. And now in that, let's specify the base address of this. And the base address, we can put it down here. And you know, this 7255, isn't it? If you're not sure yourself, please go to the line settings and make sure you do the right thing. So HTTPS 7255, grab this, go to the program, and now replace it with this one. Save this. So after doing this, we have to map the controller. And I think it's very important. And also we have to use authentication and authorization. So let's put it down here. You see, so map controllers, then use authentication and use authorization. All right, so now let's see. So let's navigate to the Swagger. Okay, so let's try to register an account there and see what we're going to have. So these are the credentials that we are passing in, the details that we are passing in: email, password, name, and I confirm mail. Confirm email. Yeah, you can see we have success. So the account is created. Now let's log in and see. So from login, let's see if we can have access to our token. Okay, so user already exists. Wow, are you creating another account? We are logging in. So why is it supposed to ask user already exists? Okay, so maybe there's an error in there. I believe you saw that, isn't it? Let's quickly check it out. So from this account, you know, from the login, let's check from the login. There is a login. So find user. If user is not equal to null, then user already exists. That's for login. And I think if user is null, user is okay. So it is supposed to be if user is equal to null, it means user is not found, right? So you can see user not found, not already exists, because you want the user to be in the database. You want it to be to exist. Yeah. So we have if it is equal to null. That is where you want to do that. Let's do it again and see. User already not found. User not found. Okay. So Swagger / Swagger, and now let's log in. Try this out, execute, and you must have the token here. Okay, so still loading. Yeah, so you can see we have a token. So this is our JWT token that has been created for us. All right. Now, once you have this token, how can we consume this in the component? How can we implement the custom authentication system and to get this done? Yes, let's have a look on that. Now, this token comprises of two claims. That is the email and the username. Remember that. The expiry date for this token is 2 days. As I did it, you can make it your own. Okay, so we have 2 days for this token. So it's not going to expire today. Maybe tomorrow next. Okay, so let's see. From here, we go to our app in there. Since we have our disk working, we can then close all this, close all tabs. The next thing that we're going to do here is we have to create a service to render this repo into the service. That's the pages. So right click on the project, add new folder. Before that, we have to terminate this. And this must be services. So in the services, we need to create an iAccount service. It is the same interface that we are creating. So in here, we're going to say iAccount service. Oh, it's supposed to be an interface, not a class. I believe we made that correction, right? Good. Then we're going to have the same thing as we had in the repo interface. So we have iAccount service, register and login. Now the implementation is going to differ from what we have already. We have account service. So let's add a class to this. And this has to inherit from the interface. Yes, so we need to implement the interfaces in here. And you know, since we're going to make an API call, we need to include an HTTP client. Then from the login, we can just call the login using post async. Here we are posting to the login. And now for the register to, we are also making a post. You see? So post to the same thing, but here the difference here it is the route. There's an API account and a login. This one is an API account / register. Okay. So we have this set. Let's save this. Let's go to program and try to include or register this in there. So it can be found in the Solution Explorer. Then program. We have the first one is the interface, and this is going to be a service. So service can be down here. These are service, iAccount service, and account service repo. Now, aside from creating a service in here, what's the next thing to do? We have to create our custom auth states. So let's do that. Solution. Let's create a folder and I'll name it as maybe states, or what do you think? What should be the name? State will be okay for me. What of you? So let's have our custom auth states. So in here, let's create this class. Now, you know, custom auth states should inherit from authentication state provider. Control period, we need to implement this interface in it. And once you have this method implemented, the next thing that we're going to do here is let's create an instance of claims principal which has access to this claims identity. And in that, we want to first check, we're going to create a constant class. Now this constant class is going to handle the token that you're going to receive from the call, the API call. So let's copy this. Let's go to the same state folder. Right click on this. Let's add a new class. And it's going to be constant. Okay. So that's the name that I'm giving to mine. So maybe we can decide to also change yours. Now this constant has just a single property for now. You could populate this later on, but for now we have only one property as JWT token. Let's save this. So here, this is what we're doing. This must be an async. I believe you know that. Now we're checking if it is null. It means user is anonymous. There's no token stored. So get this user return anonymous. Anonymous means not logged in, not authenticated. Okay. But what if in case the user is now logged in? Not logged in, the user has the token stored in there. Then we want to decrypt the token because the token contains the claims. So we want to decrypt the token in here. And if it's equal to null, you want to return this. But trust me, As soon as it's not null, we're not going to decrypt and get null. But still, for checking sake, let's do that. And the next thing that we're going to do here, we're going to create a claim principal. Once you have the token, you have the claims set, we need to, once you have the claims retrieved from the token, we need to also set it to the claim principal. After doing that, then we call this authentication state, then we pass in the claim that we have retrieved. Then with this, we are using this try catch. Maybe in case you have any filter error, we want to use the try catch to handle that. Then, so in here, we have this, so control KD. Alright, now we have this, so in case everything is working, we're going to return this with the current claim that we have. We have two methods that we need to create. The first method that we need to talk about here, that is the setting of claim principal. So let me put it down here. Now set claim principal, so we pass in this custom user claim. Do you remember this method? If I peep this, it tells you that it has two properties, that's the name and the email. So when it receives it from here, we are going to set it to the claim. As you can see, you have the name and the email in here. And this is the name that we are giving or we're adding to our custom or state. Okay, the next thing we're going to do here is we're going to decrypt the token and now get access to the claims. So the next method here is going to actually do that. As you can see from here, we retrieve the claim, or there's a payload coming here. We check if it's not null, then we're going to retrieve it, get on the token, then read the name and read the email. After that, return a claim user claims. Claim user claims, custom user claims. That is comprised of the name and now the email. Okay, so that's what we're doing. But in case the user logs in for the first time, what you want to do, we want to set it up in there. So here, in case I log in or I log out, we want to call this method update and now set this in here. For now, we are not going to use local storage for now. We are setting the value, the token to the constant, the JWT token, which is going to handle that. So anytime that I want to make an API call, we call this class, which has a token. We can retrieve it and now put it to the header of the HTTP client. Then we can make a call with it. It's a very simple one. Okay. Then here we are also decrypting the token and I reset the same claim. Okay, now the claim that we set in here, we're going to assign, as soon as we set the claim, the response is going to handle with what? Claim principal. Then we set in here and now we can call this authentication state and pass in the claim principal. Very simple one. Else, we're going to set this to null. It means we're going to clear this. As soon as you clear this, we're going to reload this page. As soon as you're loading this page, this method is going to get hit. Now, when it gets hit, it's going to first check if this JWT token is null, then I'm going to return anonymous. So this system is still going to work, Okay, so we have a custom authentication system created. Let's go in there and now register this, create DI between this and the custom, not the authentication state provider. So we go to program.cs and now down here. So we have this Auth state provider, then we have a custom Auth state provider. After doing this, we need to use the cascading Auth state provider. So we can go to the, where is it? Where is it? I think it's found here. Data, we have a login, detail, model, state, and let's see. Where can we have access to our components? Routes, we need an apps.razor. Not the apps, rather routes. Then in here, we need to include the cascading Auth state. So maybe on top here, we can put this cascading Auth state provider. Then at the end, we can close it up in here. Aside from that, this must be an authorized route view. So authorized route view. Okay. So in here, maybe we can say authorizing. What do you want to say? So authorizing, we can say maybe please wait. Okay, so we have this set. After doing this, let's go to solution. Then we check our component and layout. You can see we have a nav menu. We want to actually put up maybe 2 links in here for register and login. So we have login and register, and you can see the reference here is login and our register, which tells you that you need to create component to handle that, isn't it? Yes, so that's exactly what we're going to do here. I have a very simple login page which has, I put inside the pages, which has just a form. That's an edit form in here. It has this login modal and unvalid submit. You see login clicked. We have just an email and the password, and at the button type here is submit. When you check top here, it is for render mode and it is interactive server. Since it is a server render mode that project that we are using. Okay, now where from all this? Okay, so this is the namespaces that we need. I think there's going to be demos. Demo Blazor server authentication, I think so. Or let's take the name here. We need to demo Blazor server JWT authentication. Okay, now we go back to the login page. So do we have this? You have that. This, that. Yes. So we have the services, and that's the folder which comprises our services. We have our DTOs, you know what it contains. Responses, you know what it contains. State, you know what it contains. And address authorization, which is giving access to this authentication state provider. So to do this, you can just move all this straight. Then we can solution. Let's go to the import, and down here, let's paste it here. Okay, so all these have been injected, and we can use this. We have account service, and then we can use this in here. So when you go to our login, very simple one. It's not simple. Yes, all these are going to be solved now. Yeah, so that is it. Now login response, control period. I think this should come from login response. Okay, so this is also solved, and we can move this to the same import. I think so. This is going to work, right? Yes, it will work. So we have this. When this button is being called, when this method is being called, you can see we call the service in here. You pass in the response. You check if it is true. If it is false, you want to alert it. But in case it is not, then we are going to call a custom auth state in here. This is going to be the instance of the authentication state provider that we created. Then in that, there's a method known as update auth state. We pass in the token that we have retrieved or received from an API. Aside from that, we navigate to this, then we force load the page so that the authentication system can work. Okay, that's what we are doing. Now with this, I think solved. Let's run this and see for the login. But here it's going to log in, but we are not able to see unless maybe you have a mechanism to display. Okay, so maybe we can just navigate to the home. Let's see from the solution. Let's go to this is the home, and that's the home page, isn't it? Now inside this home, maybe we can have something similar, or maybe an authorized view displayed here, so that as soon as we are logged in, we can see something. All right, we want to see something, so let's add it here. So you can see we have this context.user.identity.name. We want to return the name, and I say welcome. In case you are not logged in. So save this, and has it refreshed? Nope, unless we reload it again. So let's see. Reload it. As soon as the page loads, you can see you are not logged in. Now let's see. So if I click on this login, then we use this email at example.com, and that is the string that we use, right? So if I click on login, let's see the response here. So we wait and see. Yes, so hi string welcome. So you can see we've been able to log in, isn't it? Yes. So we have it in here. Then if I go to this, our source, go to the constant class, and now let's have a breakpoint here. All right. Now let's see if we try to reload this. Let's check it up and see if we can have access to a token. So I'll just try to reload this. Then let's see. So you can see this is a token. Everything that has been stored in here. So for the use or for the entire use of this application by the user, this token is going to have the variable. This property is going to have a variable that's going to be what? The token. Now this value here, no, it's value, isn't it? The variable is what you see here. The value, it is a token itself. So this variable has its value, and this value is going to be stored. So anytime I want to make a call, we can call this and now get this token in here. Isn't that beautiful? Very simple as well, isn't it? Yes. The next thing I'm going to do here is, what of the registration system? Can I create a form to do that? I believe you can do it. So let's continue on. Click on this. I'm going to stop this. Then I give you 2 minutes. Work on the registration, and now let's see. If you couldn't, then let's continue on and I'll do it together. And I believe you can do that. So try your hands on it, and now let's see. So were you able to do it? Now let's see. You just have to go to the same. I'm going to just make a copy of it, you know. So let's see. You have the login, and I'm going to make a copy and I'll paste it here and change this to register. Right? Very simple one. So I'm going to clear this, and here register page. Now the route is going to be what? Register. And now in here, instead of the login, it's going to be register. So register clicked, and let's change this to register. When you come down here, we just change this to register. Not a register, not this one. And here must be register DTO. And we can say this is register. Now register response. So here it's going to be registration. Registration response is equal to, then we're going to register async, and I'm passing the model. So you can see it is the same thing that we are doing. Down here we need not to, okay, we can check. Okay, so if it is false, then return the message, but if it is true, maybe we can just make a copy of it. The same thing here. And before we return, we want to clear this container. So you want to say that there is register equal to new, so we can clear the container. Alright, that's what we're doing. Maybe you can navigate to the page, the login page, but well, you can also decide to leave it there. So let's leave it here. So here for this register model, let's say this is a register model. Now with this model that we have in here, we have name first, isn't it? So we can just make a copy of this in here, and on top we can put it MD must be 3, margin top, let's set it 3. And now this is not email address, rather it is what? Good job. So that's name. So there's going to be name in here. We have email, we have password, and we can have another one, and this is going to be confirm password. So here we can say that confirm password, and now this is going to be same. That is it. Very simple. Okay, so instead of the login, instead of this, you know, we have to change this to register, and now here to register, here also register, and that is it. I believe we've done the same, right? Good. So that's what that we can do for now. Let's save this. Let's run this too and see if this is also gonna work. So you want to log in, you want to register, and also log in. Then you're going to have access to our token. You're going to store that, call an API. Then we're going to add the token to the header, and that is all. So let's wait. Yeah, so it is ready. You log out, we know. So let's go to, that is a register. So click on this register. Okay, so 404 register. Let's see the route. Here it is register. And I think, let's grab this. So login, that is a login. Let's see the register. Okay, I believe we didn't do this, right? You wrote the correct one. That's good. Let's see. Register still. Yeah, we have it because we need to refresh. I thought reload is working. Hot reload is working, not knowing it is not. So let's refresh it manually. Then we can test it up and see. Yeah, reload it. Click on register. We must have the form. Yeah, that is it. So this is our form. Now let's fill in something and see. So I'm going to say this is Netcode-Hub. Okay, the channel has been added already. That's great. And I'm going to say user 1. Then password and password is the same. If I decide to put in this, you see password do not match. So I make sure it's the same string here. Click on register. Oh, you're supposed to register because we have login. Now let's wait. A call has been made. Let's wait until so success, right? You see, as soon as I click on OK, this content is going to be cleared because yes, it is cleared. Now we can log in. So let's go to login. Log in with the same one, and that's going to be the user 1, the same password. Let's log in and see. So hi, Netcode-Hub channel, welcome. So you see this is working, isn't it? Our token has been stored. Now let's have one form, and that's going to be the is it the weather forecast? I think so. So we can use that to test this app. So let's create an HTTP contest, or that's an HTTP client. We create our weather forecast component. Then we're going to make a call, attach this to the header, and that is all. So I'm going to, let's close this up. Let's actually stop this. Let's go to this solution, and I can see from here we have this weather, right? So now with this weather, we can just navigate this. So just streaming. Let's go to the import. Is it the import? No, not the import. Let's go to nav menu, and in here, let's make a copy of this. And now let's add it as weather. So here we can say this is weather. Now we are navigating to the same weather, but with this we want to have this authorized view, and this is going to work when you are authorized. So you're going to see this only when you are authorized. If you're not authorized, then bye-bye. You're not going to see this. Trust me. Yeah. So weather. Now let's go to the page we have for weather component, and that is this one. Okay. So in here, maybe we can just add it to this account service, right? The interface. So before that, when you go to the weather component, there's a model here, so we can cut this model, or we can just copy this quickly. We go to our, let's put inside the DTO, isn't it? So the DTO, add a new class, and now this is going to be weather forecast. In our weather forecast, we go to the weather component, and I'll try to cut this, and instead of having here as private, this is going to be what? Public. That is fine. Okay, now let's go to the weather page in here, and with this we are going to move all this. So with this, I'm going to move this. Let's cut this from here. Let's go to the controller, and where actually is the controller? Have you found yours? That is this one, right? So we're going to make a copy in here, and it's going to be HTTP get, and now let's give it a route. We say this is weather. Then we have this public. Let's make it an action result, or maybe an action result will be okay. Then here let's have this weather forecast. Let's make it an array. Then we're going to be the name, that is get weather forecast. Okay, let's paste this here. So instead of this, we're going to say return okay. Return okay. Is that so? Then in here, let's close that. Yes, we want to return weather forecast, and that is it. Let's save this. Okay, so even when we test an API, when we test this, let's see if we can have access to this weather forecast in our API. So let's see from here. If I click on, oh, we are not seeing the weather because you are not logged in. So let's go to Swagger, and we have our weather. Click on try this out, execute this. Yes, and because we have this weather, right? That's fine. So this is working. Now let's try to consume this. So we're going to implement that in the service interface that we created, you and I created together. And do you know where it is? I found mine here. Can you also find yours? Now this is supposed to be a task, and here's going to be weather forecast. And you know there's going to be an array, and let's say this is get weather forecast. It needs no parameter. Control KD save. Let's save that as well. Let's go to the account service, and we need to implement this. So control period implement this interface. Now with this we can let's remove this. Now it has been implemented down here. Where is it? Okay, so get this weather, and we can just make a copy of this, isn't it? Or we can just one line can help. We can solve this. Let's say this is going to be an await, right? Then say I'm not to say appdb context, not knowing we are on the data access layer. So AG client dot this is get from JSON async, and this is going to be forecast. Oh, weather forecast. I nearly forgot it. This must be a list. Then in here it is an API slash account. Okay, slash. Then we have our weather. Very simple one. So we can, yes, I think so. Yeah, so this is what we want to do. Well, one of course is going to actually help us complete it. So API account and a login. So you can see we have the same thing. So maybe we can extract this and now use. We can extract this API as account. Now maybe we can have private constant string. Okay, then we say this base URL. Is it URL? Right here. Now let's paste this here. Then from this base we can just use it in here. So instead of calling this, we could call something like this. So string interpolation, put the $sign here, then in that paste this. Now we can just grab this, and in here we can replace it. You can replace this too. Yes, so this is what we want to do. Very simple one. Okay, so once you have this, what is the next thing? Again, we have this call. So we go to weather.razor, and we have this class injected, that is service injected. So in here, this is what we're going to do when the page initializes. We don't want to delay any task. We want to say this weather forecast. So this forecast equal to await account service dot get weather forecast, isn't it? Yes, very simple one. So that's exactly what we are doing. And you know what, this can be in this form. So control KD, let's save that, and let's see. So if I run this is going to work, but we don't have any button to navigate to. But as soon as you try to navigate to this weather, you're going to have access to this. Let's wait and see. So you can see there's no button here because you're not authorized. Now let's click on this, and I'm going to say weather. Now see, loading, because we have the weather in here. Because this call is made while the user is not authenticated. Okay, let's try to authenticate this and see. So have the same user one login, and we must see that guy here. Yes, so you can see we have it. Have you found it? That's right. So if I click on this, I'm still getting it. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. We go to the API from this controller, and down here we can, from this we can allow anonymous, so anybody can have access to this. The same method applies to this, because when logging in we don't need anything, but as soon as we get to this weather, you must be authorized, right? If you're not authorized, you can never have access to this. Trust me. Let's try that and see. So from the controller endpoint, from the API endpoint, you're going to test this, and from our app you're going to test this whilst you're not logged in yet. So let's see. So let's navigate to the Swagger, and here it should give us 401. As soon as we try to access this, 401 meaning unauthorized. Let's see. Yes, 401, that's unauthorized, and that is a 401. Okay, now let's see. Let's try to navigate to the same page from the app section, the front end, and maybe you want to pack the back door. Back door. Let's pass in this weather forecast, And you can see we have it here, 401. Have you found it? Yes, response status code does not indicate success, 401, and that means unauthorized. So we can never have access to unless we authenticated. But trust me, see, if I log in here and I click on login, although I am logged in, yes, we wait for it to get loaded. Yeah, we are logged in. Click on weather forecast and we still have it. Do you know the reason why? Okay, so don't be surprised because we have not added the header, the token to the header of the HTTP client. That's the reason why we have this. So quickly we can do that very simple way. Remember that here, before we call this, we call, no, not here. I don't want to confuse you. Okay, not here. Forget about this. Let's go to the account service. You can see we're using HTTP client here, right? So before we do that, we're going to say that HTTP client dot default header dot authorization is equal to, you're gonna have system.net dot, so new, oh, it is not coming. Okay, yes, system.net dot header. Then in here we need to specify, let me actually make it in this form. Now if I open the first one that's supposed to handle is the scheme, and you need a scheme that is a bearer, and now the parameter is what? So we want to add, which one? Do you know? That is constant dot JWT token. But before we do this, actually, don't you think we have to check? So if string or if constant dot JWT token is equal to this, then return. So do not call it this API, this endpoint at all. It's going to return this. But if not, so return, this will be null. Yes. Okay. So return null. But in case it is not, that is where we call this. Now let's see here. Click on reload this page, and now let's check it out. Now this is ready, so let's log in. Log in here. Whoa, yeah, it is back. So we log in here, and let's wait and see for us to get this guy. Okay, so right click and go to inspect. But this, since it's a server, you're not going to see the call that's going to make in here. Click on, okay, let's try and see. I'm going to clear all this. Click, oh yeah, it's still here. See what it's doing. I'm going to clear again. Is it coming? Okay, so click on this weather, and now, okay, so we still have this version unauthorized. Let's see the call that is making. That is the call. Do you have any header attached? Okay, so we have no header. We're just making the call. Let's try this again. So get this weather forecast. We are not getting this. We have the cookie. That's what we want. Okay, so let's see. This is what we're gonna do. We can just put a breakpoint here. Okay, so let's see. Before we do that, let's put a breakpoint here. Then let's put a breakpoint here, and down here. Now let's go to the page, and I'll click on weather. You see that this is not even called at all, because weather razor, it is just streaming. And let's check it out from this, calling of this from the navbar. Okay, so let's see when we navigate to this page. Okay, so let's see. We're making a call. When the page initializes, we want to call this access get weather forecast. And let's try this again. Click on this. It gets hits. So let's see. We have our HTTP client. That is 7.255. There's a header. So for the header, do we have authorization? So this is null. Oh, okay, so it means it is not working now. Let's see. So if I put breakpoint to the account service here, oh, see what? See, I know you've done the right thing, right? This is a register. We want to call the weather forecast and see what we've done. Oh, okay, so no problem. You can just move this very simple way. Cut this like that, and now where we have the weather forecast, this is supposed to be, you must push this as a method. Okay, down on top here, let's paste this. Then we say return. I think I just hit on this. No, edit code. So here I'm gonna say return await HTTP client dot get async and etc. Yes, so here this is gonna work. Let's save this. Let's reload this again, and now let's check it out. Okay, so let's log in again, and I'm sure by this time around this must work. Now let's see. So once we log in, okay, so get weather forecast. If I click on this, maybe network tab, I'm gonna click on weather, and you can see here we have it. You see? So do you have the token here? But we are not having the call. The call is not shown. Yes, since the server that's call isn't shown, but you see we have this here, right? So it means that the token has been added to the header. If you want to try that, let's see, let's put a breakpoint in there. Let's go to the account service. Now here I'm going to put a breakpoint, right? Let's go to the page. Let's even try to reload this, and now let's see the breakpoint is going to be hit. Now if it is hit, click on this HTTP client, and now check it out. You see we have the header, and that has been added in here. So the code that's going to make this header has been appended up to. The expiry date, do you remember? 2 days, so we still have a lot of days to do it. Yeah, I know you guys can implement the refresh token yourself and a whole lot of stuff with it. Yes, so that's where we're going to end today. I'm going to make this available, so maybe check the video description and you're going to have access to this. Thank you so much for watching this, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as I enjoy teaching as well. And I'm going to catch you up in the next video. Till then, take care.